Okay, so what did we talk about when we had fractions? We don't like them. Let's put our phones away, please. We don't like them, right? So we want to get rid of them right away. First step. So how do I get rid of them? Right, least common denominator, which would be 15, right? You can just multiply the denominators together. If you did all three denominators, 3 times 5 times 5, and use 75, it would still work. Okay, but I like to use the least common denominator. You multiply every term in the equation by that 15. Okay? So here's how I think about it when I multiply a number times a fraction. I look at the denominator and I ask myself, how many times does 3 go into 15? And I tell myself 5. And then I go 5 times 2x and get 10x. Some of you might go 15 times 2 is 30 divided by 3 and get your 10x. Same thing. Okay? 15 times 10 is 150. And then 5 goes into 15 3 times. 3 times negative x is negative 3x. And 5 goes into 15 3 times, and 3 times 36 is 108. Okay? So now I have an equation that has no fractions. This is about ready to go. Questions? Make sense? She's been so loud for 2 years. All right, we okay so far? So that's what I would do for number 3 tomorrow on your quiz. Figure out the common denominator, multiply everything by it, so you don't have to worry about the fraction. So I'm going to take the 150 over to the other side. From here, you guys have no issues, I hope. That's negative 42. What we do get happening once in a while on this is you guys see these two together. You know, you got to put them together. And sometimes people will add 3x to the 10x. Should I be doing that? No, they're already on the same side. Did I move to the other side? No. So do what it says. 10x minus 3x, 7x. Okay? If I was moving the 3x to the other side, then I would be adding. Okay? So sometimes we do that because we're getting in a hurry and not taking care of business there, the details. Divide by 7, we get negative 6 for that. Okay, does that help on those? Those sometimes give us issues, the fraction ones. So get rid of the fractions right away. Makes things easier. Okay, number 1 for our practice quiz. Just a basic equation. X is only on one side of the equation, so we're going to get everything else on the other side. If I have multiple x's, simplify. If I got them on both sides, I got to get them on one side, you know, all that stuff. This one's a real easy one though. Just subtract 20 and divide by 3, and we're done. Some of us think since it's not a whole number, you did something wrong. You did nothing wrong. It's okay to have fractions for answers. Okay, decimal answer is okay too. Negative, sorry. Why did I put it negative? Just see if you guys are watching, right? Were you guys worried about that at all?
Yeah.
Why didn't you speak up?
I just assumed that was wrong.
Assume nothing. Right? Okay. Don't get like old Mr. Mattingly and get careless. Try and get in a hurry. Okay? Number two, we got some simplification to do before we can get our x by itself. Okay, so distribute your 7, 28x minus 84. Distribute the negative 10, negative 20x minus 70. Okay, combine like terms, 28 minus 20 is 8, and negative 84 and negative 70 is negative 154. Questions so far? All right, now it's just like the first one, right? Add 154 and divide by 8. That reduces 2 into that 77, and 2 into 8 is 4, or I think it was 19.25 or 19 and a quarter. Again, decimal answer or fractions, either one's fine. Questions so far? Simple. Should we miss either one of those? No, we shouldn't. Okay. All right, number 3's like our warm-up today, a fraction problem. It'll be a fraction problem tomorrow as well. Again, I'm not trying to trick you on the quizzes. Show me you can do these types of problems. All right, so what's my common denominator? 6. So I'll multiply everything by 6. Again, the way I think about it, 3 goes into 6 twice. 2 times 2 is 4x. 6 times 8, 48. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 3 times 1 is 3x. And 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. So no more fractions now. Much easier problem to handle then. So I've got an x on each side. I'm going to get them on one side. Doesn't matter, right or left. Most of the time I put them on the left, so I'm going to take the 3x over, so I have to subtract it to move it over. 3x minus 3x is nothing. That's what I want. And 4x minus 3x is x. Get x alone now. Take the 48 to the other side. And we get 24. So if I were to substitute 24 in that x and that, we get the same thing on both sides. We get 8 actually on both sides. Okay? Questions? Simple, right? No problem. All right, the next 3, absolute value. Absolute value problems mean there's 2 solutions. There's actually 2 problems. Every year I get some students that forget there's 2 problems. So the first thing you want to make sure of is that it looks like this. It has just the absolute value on the left equal to a number on the right. Okay? If there's stuff on the left with the absolute value that's outside, take it over there first, like number 6 that we're going to do. This one, we just write our 2 problems. 3x plus 4 equals 10. That's all the same. Or this doesn't change. It stays 3x plus 4. Only thing it changes is the 10 becomes negative 10. Okay? Every year I get a few students that'll change what's inside here. Don't change that at all. Just change this to negative on this side. And again, from here, it's really easy. You guys know how to solve an equation. So one answer is 2. And the other answer is is negative 14/3. The decimal is negative 4.6 repeating. Okay? Number 5, we got a fraction in our absolute value. That's okay, we can handle it. The absolute value parts alone on the left, there's a number on the right, I can go right to my 2 problems. Okay? So, you might see something like this. Is the absolute value part alone now? No, I'd have to do what with that 3? Multiply by 3 first, move it over. See the difference between those two? I don't think I do that tomorrow, but just in case. All right? You should realize that that 3 here has got to be moved first. Okay? So my 2 problems, x minus 6/3 is 12, or x minus 6/3 equals negative 12. So again, all I do is change the 12 to negative 12. Now I multiply by 3, both sides. So I get rid of that 3 in the denominator. So I get x minus 6 equals 36, add 6, and we get 42. And then x minus 6 equals negative 36, add 6 again, so we get negative 30. So there's my 2 answers. Number 5. Simple. Okay. Number 6. This has some stuff outside of the absolute value symbols. So that stuff I got to take to the other side first. Don't distribute the 4. Okay? Just add 20. And then divide by 4. So you get the absolute value part, x minus 5, divided 2 into 22 and 4, you get 11.5. If you write the decimal, it's 5.5. That's fine if you want to use 5.5. Okay, now I can write my 2 problems. All right, so simplify down first. So x minus 5 equals 11/2, or x minus 5 equals negative 11. Okay, and then just add 5 to both sides in both problems. All right, so 5.5 plus 5 is what? 10.5, right? Or 5 is 10/2. 11/2 and 10/2 is 21/2. So the fraction is 21/2, the decimal is 10.5. Over here, negative 5.5 plus 5 is negative 0.5, or negative 11/2 plus 10/2 is negative 1/2. Okay, fraction or decimal is acceptable. Questions on the absolute value ones? Too easy, right? Again, usually when we make mistakes on these, we're just getting in a hurry, we forget a negative sign or something like that. We just miss some details. All right, number 7, word problem. It says, the the length of a room is 10 feet less than twice the width of the room. The perimeter of the room is 52 feet. Find the width and length of the room. So I draw a picture. What's this a picture of? What type of shape? Square or rectangle? So I don't think all the sides aren't equal. They're close. So we'll make it look like a rectangle. So it says the length is 10 feet less than twice the width. So it talks about the length in terms of the width. Did it tell us how long the width was? No. So since I don't know how long the width is, I have to use a variable for that. What variable you want to use? W, okay. And that means that's also W feet, right? Now, it said the length was 10 feet less than twice the width. So how do I write twice the width? 2W, right? And 10 feet less? Minus 10, right? So 2W minus 10. Remember, there's two lengths also. Right? So there's what the picture would look like. Does that make sense? Again, you can use X's. It doesn't matter what variable. Total is the perimeter. Again, what's perimeter? All the sides added up. The distance around the object, right? So we just add up the four sides. So 1W plus 1W is 2W, plus 2W is 4W, plus 2W is 6W. What's negative 10 plus negative 10? Negative 20 equals 52 feet our perimeter. So there's our equation that goes with this problem. Then we solve it. Add 20 and divide by 6. So W is what? 12. Okay, here's another mistake some kids make. I got W's 12. Great, I got W's 12. Now on to the next problem. Did you answer the question? No. It says find the width and length. We just found the width. All right? Let's find the length. Plug 12 right there, right? 2 times 12 is 24, minus 10 is 14. So make sure you answer the question. If you just wrote 12, I'd probably mark a point off because you didn't tell me the dimensions, both length and width. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Maybe tomorrow I'll give you a triangle one. Just add up the three sides, right? Okay. Easy stuff, right? Number 8 is probably the hardest one for kids. Okay, it's the investment type problem. It says an accountant invests part of an $8,000 bonus in a 5.5% simple interest account and invests the remainder of the money at 8.25% simple interest. Together, the investments earn $490 per year. Find the amount invested at each rate. Okay? So, information is $8,000. Nice bonus. He's going to invest it. But he's not going to put it all in one thing. He's going to split it up into two things. One of his investments is going to get him 5.5%. His other investment is going to get him 8.25%. All right? After the year, it's going to earn in interest for him or her $490? Yeah, $490. Okay? So, when you're trying to find how much you're going to earn in interest, all you do is multiply the amount of money times the interest rate. But we don't know the amount of money. That's what we're looking for, right? So, one of those has to be X dollars, because I don't know. It's an unknown. All right? So I'll just make this one X, the 5.5%. X dollars. Okay? If I told you this was $2,000, you guys would tell me this would be what? $6,000, right? If I told you that was 2,000, you guys automatically would know that's 6,000, right? Because you would go 8,000 minus 2,000 to get this, right? If I told you this was 5,000, you would tell me this is what? 3,000, right? Because you would go 8,000 minus 5,000 is 3,000. You guys all with me? Okay. So I'm telling you it's X dollars. How do I write this amount? The total minus X. So this is $8,000 minus X. Isn't that what we did on the two examples I gave you numbers? Does that make sense? When I told you it was 2,000, you went 8,000 minus 2,000, you get 6,000. When I told you it was 5,000, you thought 8,000 minus 5,000, you got 3,000. Well, we don't know what that is, so that's the way we can represent that amount of money. Okay? So tomorrow, it's going to be the same type of problem. Only thing's changing are these four numbers. Okay? Total's going to be different. So one of them's X, the other one's a total minus X. Interest is going to be different. Interest rates will be different. Okay? Again, to find how much in interest, you just multiply interest rate times amount of money. Interest rate times amount of money. Okay? When I multiply an amount of money times 5.5%, I change this to a regular number. What regular number is it? 0.055. Yeah. So this is 0.055 times X. And this one is 0.0825 times 8,000 minus X. That's how I figure out how much money they earned in interest. I just multiply those two things together. To get the total interest, what do I do with those two amounts? Add them together. So that's my equation. Okay? My equation is this, 0.055x plus this, 0.0825 times 8,000 minus x equals the 490, how much we earned in interest for the year. And then we solve for x. Does that help? Makes a little better sense if you were struggling with that? Any questions?
Could you just go through the calculation?
Yeah, I'll finish it up. Again, it doesn't matter which one you make x. All right, if we made the 8.25% the x, and then the 5.5 would have been the 8,000 minus 6. It'll still come out for you. Okay? So that doesn't make a difference. But remember, it's the total minus x, not x minus the total. Okay, that's a mistake sometimes we'll make. We'll flip those. All right, so when I distribute the 0.0825, I get $660 when I do that, minus 0.0825x. So if you do that in your calculator, that's where I got the 660. 0.0825 times 8,000. Now I'm going to move the 660 over, so I'll subtract it. I'm just going to solve the equation and combine the like terms. So 0.055x minus 0.0825x is negative 0.0275x. 490 minus 660 is a negative 170. Okay, now I'll divide by that negative 0.0275. when we do that, comes out to $6,181.82, round to the nearest cent. So remember, back in the beginning, the X was for the 5.5% interest. So that was the amount we put in there. So how do I figure out how much I put in at 8.25? What do I do to get the other number? Yeah, subtract that answer from the 8,000, right? And when I do that, 8,000 minus this, it's $1,818.18. Okay, so those are the two word problems. And then the last problem, number 9, some of you forgot to write it down and finish that one, is one of those formulas I'll give you. This is the arithmetic sequence formula for the nth term. So there's not too many numbers, there's just a bunch of letters. So we're solving this for the letter D. That means we gotta get D by itself. So, since I'm adding this A1, we call this a subscript. We call it A sub 1, which represents the first term of the sequence. We'll get into this towards the end of the year. So we'll do problems that involve this formula. So since I'm adding it to the n minus 1 times D, to move it over, I gotta subtract it. So same, rules if they were numbers. If that was a 5 plus, you'd subtract 5, right? So I can't actually subtract those, so I just write it out. A sub n, the nth term, minus A sub 1, the first term, equals n minus 1 times D. So how do I get rid of that n minus 1? Divide it, yeah. So if that was 3 times D, we divide by 3. Well, now it's n minus 1 times D, so we divide by n minus 1. But you don't have to put parentheses on it, but I just did, it doesn't matter. So that's my answer. A sub n minus A sub 1 over n minus 1. That equals D. Simple. You can do it, no problem. Easy. Right, Chris? Piece of cake. All right. Any questions? Haas, you ready? Good. You guys did better last week. You're going to do even better this week. All right. Good job. Thanks for your attention. Keep up the good work. Look good, feel good? You are good. Yes, you may.
Thank you.